Do you ever get to the end of the year and wonder, where the hell did the last 12 months go? Here's the thing, I don't want you to be having all of these amazing, exciting, creative ideas of things that you want to do and things that you want to create, these projects that you've been dreaming about, that you want to bring to life. But another year passes, all of these months, all of these days go by, and you just don't seem to be progressing. You don't seem to be bringing any of these things that you want to bring to life to actual life. Nothing seems to be clicking. You're not getting where you want to go. Let's change that. I definitely know what it feels like to have ideas and have these surges that you feel so excited about, and you're like, yes, let's make this thing real. But then you just slowly let them fade. You let that idea fade away into the background, and as more time passes, the less important it feels, the more difficult it feels. Before you know it, another year's passed and your dreams feel even more impossible. This is what I want for you. I want you to feel so empowered and so enthusiastic about your ideas and your dreams that you just cannot help but make them real. You wake up in the morning and you're like, yes, I have another day to work on this thing, to create this thing, to create what I wish existed in the world and contribute to the world as my fullest self. That's what I want for you, because I want that for myself as well. I want to be having ideas that I feel so strongly about, I actually do something about them. And so I want to share with you a few things that I have been learning and a few beliefs that I have had to switch up and change in order to be able to create the kind of things that I want in the world and actually have real finished projects to share with other people. If you want this to finally be the time where you take your dreams seriously, then listen up, because I'm going to show you exactly how you can make this year your most creative one yet. In this video, I'm gonna break down the 5 behaviors and ways of thinking that have you feeling stuck and overwhelmed by life, plus the 5 shifts that are gonna have you changing those ideas, evolving those ideas so you can live a more creative and satisfying life. I'm all about taking action to get you to live the life that you actually enjoy and feel satisfied by. And so of course, I'll be giving you simple steps and prompts along the way that will have you starting the journey of creating your wildest dreams today. Number 1, you don't know what you want, you don't know what's important to you, when what you need is to get your priorities right. It's very easy to feel like you have to wait around for somebody else to tell you what's important, because we've spent so much of our lives doing exactly that. We've gone to school and we've been given assignments. We've been told what types of books we have to read. We have been told what types of projects we have to complete and when we have to complete them by. When you give yourself the permission to be the creative that you really, really are, to live like the artist that you really are, that means you also have to do everything that goes along with that. And that looks like defining your own priorities, setting yourself deadlines, giving yourself times when you're going to focus on creating the things that you want to create. The truth is, things don't just happen by accident. If you have big dreams, especially big dreams of doing things that aren't necessarily the norm, aren't what everybody else is doing, if you want to be an artist, if you want to make creating whatever it is that feels the most exciting to you, your job, then best believe you'll be required to move differently in order to make it so. To make creativity happen, to make projects come to life, means that you'll be required to operate in a form of discipline towards your dreams. And I think as creatives, we can often get scared by any mentions of discipline and structure. But what I've been learning over the last couple of years of being full-time in my own creative career is understanding that structure and freedom work together. If I want to have the freedom of expressing myself fully and bringing these audacious projects to life, then I know that I absolutely have to give myself the structure in the terms of timelines of when I'm going to complete a project, of giving myself parameters of what I'm going to create and how I'm going to do it and how I'm going to be able to share it with other people. Otherwise, I can just be doing anything. Anything is an option. So much of knowing what is your priority and what is important to you is in also knowing what isn't important to you, and knowing what you can clear off, what things you don't want to prioritize. And that way you can hone in on the very few ideas that really set you on fire. And knowing what you want specifically, knowing what is important to you specifically so you can get your priorities about, it really comes down to stopping this game of people pleasing, stopping this game of creating what you think other people want, and really giving yourself the permission to create what you wish existed, of allowing yourself to be led by your own intuition, and understanding that as a creative, that is your superpower, that is your guiding star, your ability to have an idea and not have to have it grounded in reality, and not have to see the proof or even have to have the support before you let yourself begin, but allowing yourself to be a self-starter who sees the potential, who sees your own potential and opportunities, and you let that propel you to taking action and taking continued action until you actually finish the thing and you can share it with people. If you're waiting around for somebody else to tell you what's important and what you need to prioritize, then it's going to be really difficult for you to ever create anything that really means something to you. Your job here is to be led by your own intuition and to prioritize the callings of your intuition accordingly. My second tip is to decide right here, right now, that this year you are going to create more than you consume. Let me guess, your screen time is sky high and you don't have much to show for it. You're scrolling constantly, but you don't really post much. You don't really have much stuff to share. It's okay. I've been there too. What you can do from this place is realize that you want to do things differently. Realize that actually passive consumption doesn't fill you up. It doesn't feel very good. What would feel so much better is if you switch some of that time when you are just passively consuming whatever happens to be on your feed, and instead you prioritized working on your own projects, creating something, having something that you want to contribute to the world. It feels so much more satisfying. Something I really realized recently is just how boring social media is when I feel like I'm not contributing. If I'm not actively participating in the conversation, I don't really have much interest in just scrolling and seeing what whoever happens to come up is doing. What turns me on, what I love about social media, is being able to use it as a space where I am contributing to the conversation, where I'm coming on and I'm like, I love that you're doing that, I'm doing this. Being able to actively have things of your own to share is beautiful. And if you have been feeling overwhelmed, depleted by social media, I really want you to assess your relationship with creativity and consumption, and to really shift as much as possible into spending your time creating things rather than consuming them. Tip number 3 is to learn something new. You've been spending the year doing the same old stuff and you are left feeling uninspired and bored with life. And honestly, it's no surprise. It's really easy to get into these routines of doing the same kind of stuff and like following the same kind of thing, and I do this thing and I make this type of stuff, so I guess I'll keep doing this thing and making that type of stuff. Or maybe you've been out of the habit of creating anything at all, and it's easy to stay in whatever habit you happen to be in. Whatever your routine is, it's really easy to stay doing that thing. But that is what we call a rut. When you continually go through the same pattern, go through the same day-to-day life, even though it doesn't feel good, it is more effort to switch out of that pattern and to do something new. And so the rut continues, and the rut gets deeper and deeper, and you get more uninspired and you get more and more bored. and all you have to do to change things is just do something a little bit differently, just to veer off course slightly, and all of a sudden you open your mind to all of the possibilities and all of the other stuff that you could be exploring as well. My favorite way to do this is to learn something new, to learn a new skill. There is no shortage of things to learn, of things to explore, classes to take, things to learn on the internet. I promise, no matter what it is you want to learn, there's a bajillion lessons and classes available to you. Something that's really great to do is to write this huge list for yourself. Especially if right now you're feeling a little bit bored, if you're feeling a little uninspired, write a list of all of the things that you want to do, that you want to try. No pressure. You don't have to be like an expert of this thing. You don't have to do this thing and commit to it forever. But if you're like, maybe I do want to take an oil painting class. Maybe I want to go do life drawing. Maybe I do want to learn pole dancing or ceramics or skateboarding or surfing or whatever it is for you. Allow yourself to just indulge in that. Life is so varied. There are so many things that we can constantly be trying and doing, so many skills that we can build for ourselves. It's really easy as we grow up to stop learning new things and to stop indulging this real desire we have inside of ourselves to be expanding and evolving in ways that feel really exciting to us. But when you give yourself the permission to be a beginner, to suck at something, to learn something new, suddenly you start making all of these new connections in your mind. You see all of the different possibilities and life feels fresh again. You literally create that inspiration and energy and enthusiasm by just tapping into our ability to learn new things, to explore new things. You don't have to be stuck into the same patterns and routine. And is it any surprise if you are, why you are feeling so bloody flat? Mix it up, do something different, and get yourself out of that rut. The fourth thing is to consume on purpose. I know I told you to create more than you consume, but let's be real here. We still want to get inspired. We still want to soak up things. I love soaking up the things that other people have created. Give me a movie that offers a new perspective and a book that brings me into its story, that shows me words in a different way, that kind of sparks something fresh in my mind. And not only do I get hungry for more depth and more valuable consumption, but it also fills me with so much energy that I want to pour into my own things. When we're at a surplus, you know, when the cup is overfilling with inspiration, it's from that overflow that we have the energy, that we have the ability to create, because we're so filled up on all this love and admiration and excitement about life and the ability that we have as humans to create, that we have to put it somewhere. And when you get inspired enough, when you get filled up enough, it can't help but pour out into your own work and your own projects and bring these fresh energies into it. So how do you be purposeful about your consumption? Contrast it with passive consumption, which, you know, for a lot of us looks like laying down, scrolling from app to app, seeing whatever happens to come up and just passively consuming, seeing what the algorithm shows us, letting that be the thing that enters our brain that day. And for the most part, this is going to lead to you being bored because it's going to be the same kind of stuff, right? The algorithm, it likes to get into a groove because it likes having the proof that it's going to be successful at doing its job, which is keeping us on these apps, right? So you're probably going to see a lot of the same stuff. You're also going to see a lot of the same stuff because a lot of people are doing a lot of the same stuff. And if your goal is to create something different, if your goal is to develop your own style and to show up in the world as yourself, then consuming the same kind of stuff means that you're going to be regurgitating the same kind of stuff, or you're just going to be so uninspired that you don't create anything at all. Instead, what I want you to do is to start actively seeking out media, books, movies, whatever it is that excites you, that is so specific to what you love. Something about it that just spark something inside of you. And when you let yourself go down these rabbit holes of exploring things that so specifically inspire you, that means you're able to develop your perspective, and that means you're able to pull an amalgamation of all these different things together, and the way that they combine within you creates a completely different output. That is what essentially our style as creatives is. All of these different things that we're inspired by, filtered through the lens of our experience, our skills, and our medium as creatives. Seek out things you actually care about consuming and do it attentively. Don't just have something on in the background while you're scrolling away on your phone. Remember, your priority is to create more than you consume. So when you are in a period of consuming something, make sure you're being actively inspired. Make sure it's something you actually care about. Give yourself the luxury of getting filled up on the art that inspires you to be alive. And it's gonna be so much easier for you to be like, I'm gonna create something myself. I wanna contribute to this conversation. The fifth and final tip is to make a plan. It's really easy to feel like you are constantly busy and to feel exhausted, but still feel like you haven't made any progress, still feel like you're not going in the direction that you wanna go. And no matter how busy or exhausted you feel, you still don't feel satisfied. A shift needs to happen here. You need to make a plan to prioritize everything we've been speaking about in this video. You need to make a plan to prioritize making your art. You need to make a plan to create more than you consume, to learn something new, to put active consumption into your weekly schedule to make sure you're feeling inspired and invigorated enough to allow that to pour into your own work. These things don't just happen by accident. Your dreams are way too important to just leave them up to chance, to just be waiting around, twiddling your thumbs, hoping that inspiration and motivation will strike you one day. It is your job as a creative to put yourself in the best position to feel excited, to feel enthusiastic and energized about the fact that you're alive and you have the ability to create your art. And that is it, baby cakes. Take action on these and I promise you will radically transform how you feel about yourself and your creativity, and therefore the results you actually get. Comment below and tell me what you think is going to help you make the biggest shift to being a prolific creator. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe for plenty more to come. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!